This is a 460 Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming Shir or more Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. They're doing Simon Shin Base, Sifu Tess, to Simon Shin Gimel, Sifu Dalit. So, Shin Base, Sifu Tess. Because they're being Rambam, the Sif Tess. Beggar channel of Lichluch, a garment which has no dirt on it. Mutar says, when my mods, you're allowed to put a little bit of water on it. V'lo merubim, not a lot. Shem Yisrael, because it might come to squeeze it. Yeshul Simchon Yam, some people forbid it no matter what. Akon L'Shona. End quote. But that's Vorim. Means to say, the Rabbi saying about the test is so perky down Hikshu. How I mean it be Yuma. Alecha Bil Pei Rabbo, Yom Kippur Elech Maimed Sabaro. That which it says that even on Yom Kippur, you're going to greet your Rabbi, you have to go up to water up to your neck. Uvebeitza, the Nida Shein Begadim, Nida who has no clothing. And it's Shabbos, my remes, the best of Shabbos, she's allowed to do the ruse, so to speak, of toiling in her garments on Shabbos. How can this be? Asked Tyson. When you soak garments, that's laundering them. But they respond, laundering as a rak b'yeshol of lichluch. They only say this when there's dirt on them. And therefore, since soaking removes that dirt, that is like laundering. But if it doesn't have any dirt on it, lo shah kibus. Doesn't that called laundering? Because it doesn't require laundering. That's their Rishon. That's the first opinion. Nevertheless, my merubim also to put in a lot of water is forbidden. Because you might come to squeeze. That which they didn't decree. Obviously, there's a lot of water if you're going up to your neck in water. But the reason they didn't answer that is so it's a mitzvah activity the Rabbanan wanted to allow it. We only say that soaking is laundering when you're doing it in a way which is meant to clean. But if it's a way in which specifically Adarabah probably dirties it, like there you're going through water on a street, and you're probably going to get your clothing dirty. And this is not laundering. On the contrary, you're making yourself dirty. And according to this answer, we don't say a distinction ben yeshul of lichluch ben edel of lichluch, whether it has dirt or not. No matter what, you can't put any water on it because it's considered to be derech nikayon. Again, when you're not walking through muddy water in the street, derech nikayon, and that's also. Is there that station? That's that forbids. But plus communication tough to tears sheni ikar, which means that the distinctions between derech nikayon and not derech nikayon, but any derech nikayon, even the small amount of water is also. The bracket says, if you're not concerned about the water, mutter, it's permissible. But to be honest, I'm astonished at the comparison. The sham my rinan, the tatlok should have my mind. It has to do with picking up the garment and filling the water. Has nothing to do with putting water on the garment. So this is not clear. Mishnah Bura says, putting water on a garment if it's derech lichluch. It's permissible. I'm not sure that works. However, he does bring down that there's an opinion that is machmir, even if it's derech lichluch, if it's a lot of water. Which says that you should be machmir like the opinion, not to put even a little bit of water on, because it could be a deraisa here. Even though the bir halacha, it seems inclined to pass like the first opinion that if it's just a little bit of water, it's not a problem. The Mishabur also does pass like Magavram, when you're not backing in the water, it's okay, even though the Arukh HaShulchan has grave difficulties with that. Still, I'm sure it's a very small amount of water. Kasser Rabbeinu Beis Yosef. The seafood. Somebody watched that. It's totally nagvan bekoach zu bezu. It's best to rub them hard, one against the other. And to remove as much water as possible before you wipe them on a cloth. Those don't be concerned with this. We don't hold that soaking the garment is laundering it. In such a way where you're just wiping your hands at the top. Because this is only a manner of actually making it dirty. And this is the custom. When I gave you the dove, therefore you're allowed to wipe your hands. Bebegachita botinok meragline, in a garment which a child urinated. The vatlam, in order to negate the urine, I guess the stench. Shein zerak derech lichlu ba'alma. It was just derech lichlu, because when you wipe hands on a towel, you make it dirty. But to put water directly on the urine, that's not permitted. End quote for the Ramah. This is clearly a definitive halacha. Anytime it's done in a manner which actually is a manner of getting something dirty, it's not considered laundry. Beis Yosef also holds this. Therefore, he didn't write you have to wipe your hands before you dry them. It's a good thing to do. They should do because the first answer the Tosfos brought in the previous sif. You don't need this svara because it's not really can't be considered kibbutz because there's no dirt on the towel. There's no issue whatsoever because the second answer, which is that any derech lichluch is permitted, is the primary way of learning. Mishabur says that those who you have to dry their hands a little bit, like the mechaber are machmir, like to in order to take into account the opinion which holds that even derech lichluch is also if it's a lot of water. And because we don't know what's a little bit and what's a lot, so they say, in doubt, make sure to move as much water as possible. Chaf Aleph. Yesh Mishakos of those who write the Avag, there's one who writes, Avraham, I guess, the Derech Lichlu, Avagav Derech Lichlu, even though doing something way which makes it dirty, it's miserable, also. Not allowed to move the towel afterwards, because it might come to squeeze it. When you're concerned with its being moist. Says but a lot of water, not by drying hands. Obviously, we just said Mishabur says you don't know what's allowed and what's little. That's why machmir by even the water which you're just was trying to take on a towel. It's a verse go like this, but Arukh HaShulchan doesn't have that. It doesn't have that chumrah. Drying hands is definitely derech and it's not enough water to be concerned. And on the other hand, you're not allowed to put water directly on a garment regardless. And we saw this case by a towel back in previous simon. So this wiping hands, this ruse of wiping moist hands on a garment which has urine only works for urine and not for feces. It's best not to take a child on your lap so the child should not urinate on you and you have to look for a heter. Many years ago, I had one of my children who wasn't an infant at the time and defecated on my tishbakasha. So, I have there's nothing to do. Now you do. Even for urine, you're supposed to avoid doing anything, but something for excrement is not to do. So you should take him in a pillow. And today we would say, of course, in a firmly attached diaper. So when he urinates on the pillow. A woman who's washing a child in water, she should be careful to wash him with her hands, not with a rag or a washcloth. Which you'll put in the water. Because there's total squeezing. I feel the total yadav aleim also. That would say now let's put water directly on the urine. That's even if you're washing your hands over them. That's no good. All you can do is just wipe your hands there. But you're going to ask, well, what good does it do to do this altogether? In order to dilute urine, you have to have at least a revius, a few ounces of water. The zelk shemer gleimein, that's where the urine is sitting there, open and in liquid form. And here where the child urinated, lo have a beged, rak tofeach hatbir. It's only moist on the garment. The moisture can take it away. And that you can remove by just wiping your wet hands on that cloth. And the Mishnah Berurah says something similar. Okay. Chaf base. Mishnah Yislach Yoda Betito Betzoa. It was one's hand got dirty with mud or with excrement. Mekancha, you can wipe it off. Bezanav Hasus, with the tail of a horse. Uzana Pora, tail of a cow. V'maba kosher, with a tough rag. Hasui lachozbo kotsim, which is used normally to hold thorns. Kamo sak av, like a thick sack. Martels, or even a mat. But not with the type of cloth with which you dry your hands. You should do the way you do it on the weekday. If you have but you forget, and then come to wash the cloth. HaShulchan says, I don't think people make that distinction. It's possible this is because now we're not consuming, might come to laundry. Nefes, tenfes, whatever you pronounce it, because even a weekday we don't normally launder immediately when it gets dirty. Actually, miscabits have paid for him, but we put it into the hamper until we get a lot of stuff. Shetzirim kilos which require laundering. Chapsikun biyacha, we launder everything together. And those kobeses, we give it to the laundry woman. Din brings out the brackets here. Din zeh tosefta perek zayin. The halacha of using a different type of cloth on Shabbos is brought down to Sefta, but it doesn't say that the issues might come to the launder. But Rambam adds that reason. But the Sefta issue might move the chol, but it's possible according to the Sefta, the whole issue is uvda the chol, a weekday activity. Near the Avkosha Rambam is uvda the chol shaykh b'seh. So that evidently the Rambam had difficult. What kind of uvda the chol is relevant here? Because time the Chi was that, so he wrote the reason of the laundering. Chav Gimel, Kosar Rabbeinu Beis Yosef. Also, you base. Also, Nagib Kos Shaya B'Mayim or Yaim B'Mapa Shunase Eschita. Can't dry a cup which had water or wine with a rag because you might come to squeezing. Akal Shalom. V'Chol Omein the Holy Yisrael said nobody is concerned with this. Because Rabbah Bez Tshuva. Rabbah Zemli Zors for the leniency. V'emes Einis remove on cloud. Doesn't make sense, the prohibition. Datim Niguv Kos Yavoy De Eschita. Just because drying out a cup you're going to come to squeeze. Mikor Semi Niguv Gaim. How was that any different than drying your hands? Niguv Yadayim Hu Derech Lichluch. If you're going to say, well, when you dry your hands, it's a way of getting it dirty. Here too, Gam Kano Derech Lichluch. It's a derech. It might be a Derech Nikoyan for the cup, but it's a Derech Lichluch for the rag. Even going to say something about a narrow cup where it's that he's going to definitely squeeze as he pulls the rag out of it. Move on. This still not clear. Is there enough moisture in the walls of a vessel that's going to also be considered afterwards schita? It's a shear for schita. I forget what it is. I think it's like a spoonful or something. Especially one where many beings hold schita is not relevant because it doesn't come clean. Certainly if it's a cloth designated, it should definitely be mutter. This halacha is not clear. The Shemura says with narrow cup she machmir even by beverages other than water. You shouldn't protest somebody who's lenient to wipe a narrow cup, as long as he's doing something which he's not concerned to squeeze it out. And he says it's best to beforehand, I guess, try and spill all the water from the vessel. This comes to the topic of baby wipes. Baby wipes, people are not mechavin to schita, they're mechavin, and it's also derech lichluch, because you're getting the baby wipe dirty. and the many Achronim hold there's no schita by paper in any event. So I'm out your baby wipes. Chavtat. You don't look in on Shabbos in a mirror, which is sharp and made of metal, and there's sharp rims. She chariva kizmil if it's sharp like a razor. The chayshina is like more of a leather worker's tool, but a sharp one, chisel. Because if you're going to use it to cut loose hairs, so if you don't kavua, because even if it's bent in the wall, you might go up to the wall and start moving your head against the sharp edges. You're allowed to look in a mirror where there's no such issue, even if it's not on the wall. Back then, there were many times that people were makbid not to look in mirrors because of the yibash gever. I'm sure the people are makbid today because of mention not be looking in mirrors. It's a vibish zach. We don't know what this combo mirror razor or mirror chisel thing look like. We don't have it in our countries. Shin Gimel, Dine Tachshite Noshim, the laws of women's jewelry. Aleph, findings barats have been clarified with Simon Shin Aleph, Sif Notashim Ne Gola Issa because of the great prohibition of taking things out, which is Sarabim, Ne Gola Hergel, because people are accustomed to take things out without thinking about it. Chachamim had to make boundaries in Yonei when it came to taking stuff out. Because of Yichel Noshim, and they made special gazeras on women. Kami Tachshitem and some of the piece of jewelry, Shalom Lenosim Shabbos, not to bury them out on Shabbos. Yisham erased by my Isha Omer, Ayidei Shenoshim Shachtzani saying, since women are vain, vanity, thy name is woman, I think Shakespeare said, her son, and she takes them off to show them to her friend. She forgets that it's Shabbos. She walks for Amos with it in her hand. And there's several reasons here. It's not just because he's going to show it to another woman, but because she has to go to the mikveh. Maybe she'll move the object before she goes to mikveh. Tisa arba hamshus rabin and carry for hamshus rabin. Many people forbade it. Because of a hesitancy that she might come to want to take pride, and show her friends how beautiful jewelry is. Like Ushalmi said above. Some people forbid it because jewelry is loose, not like a garment. The yipa is going to fall off of her hand or wherever the jewelry is. The son of Arba she's going to carry 4 Amashus Rabbi. Yesh doesn't show Marasign. People say the jewelry is also because of Marasign. Looks like you're carrying. Yesh doesn't people say it's a serem. And some people say because they're a makar. Look at this woman wearing that weird jewelry. And she's going to have to take them off. Titat Arba Amashus Rabbi. She's going to carry them 4 Amashus Rabbi. Choldib Elis Baru. But Siman all these things will be clarified here. Base, let's say Isha B'chutei Tzemesh Shabosha, a woman should not go out with wool strings on her head. V'lo B'chutei Pishin Shabosha, nor with linen strings on her head. V'lo B'tzua Shabosha, nor with straps on her head. Ma'ya Korchim Shabosha, these are things which are wrapped on her head. The Gazrim are afraid Shematis Dam L'Tfilah Shabbos, she might have to go to the mikveh on Shabbos. V'telech B'hen L'Beis L'Tfilah, she's going to go with them to the mikveh. V'shas L'Tfilah Tzurichol Rabos, at the time she goes to mikveh, she has to loosen them. That they shouldn't be tight. So too, that there'll be a chatzitza, an interruption between her and the water, but tefillah when she goes to mikveh. Everyone turns both when she goes to the mikveh. That when she remembers she has to loosen them. Perhaps she's going to move them entirely from her head in order to make her tefillah quicker. But he saw some Arba Amshus Rabin. He might come to Shema Kan Kanim for Amshus Rabin. Came back Chezros, it's on her way back. She took him off her head when she did go to the mikveh. Achad Tefillah Tamar Lilech. After the mikvah, she's going to go back hastily. Tishkach al Shabbos. She forgets the Shabbos in name because of her haste. Lo tisayim shel shama rosha, and she won't put them in the mikvah back on her head. Ela tisayim biyada. She's going to carry them in her hand. V'tech l'tatel arba amos. She's going to go and carry 4 amos just a rabbit. V'lama goes in ken abgadim. Why do they make such a degree on other garments, just on jewelry? Mishum dein der mider hishalech b'ruchah b'li kol b'tekater v'chavetzeh gdolim. A woman doesn't go in the street without her garments and her large object which she wears on her body. Hashem tiny cradles, both of small things like this. Weekday she's not so concerned sometimes. She'll carry them in her hand when she's walking. Because of Kol Noshim. And they made this decree on all women, even on young women and old women, before they go suitable to go to mikvah and after they're suitable to go to mikvah. No shach would feel even though they are not going to go to mikvah. Lo pur rabban not show any distinctions. Kimel v'machudim ritzos kluyim mitzol saraseh. But if these strings or straps are woven into her hair, muter says she's allowed to go out on them. Minei tuchay gam also tiklas v'Shabbos because you're not allowed to open up the braid on Shabbos. The kliyas seir, the braiding hair, having malacha. It's a malacha v'chayataras also to remove the braid. So she's going to have to leave and remove her hair of Shabbos from there. After she wants to braid them after mikvah, she has Shabbos. She can't do that on Shabbos. So she's going to know. She's not going to take these stuff to the mikvah. She won't come to any problem. Those are also even in a case of they're woven in. So that's Rashi Bereish by Ma'isha. That's Rashi's opinion. But Tam the Chashina, and the reason because we're afraid Shema Tarpea Klios, maybe she's going to loosen the braids. Actually, Konas Bahem Maim, because of my mind, so water gets in. Or Shali Bo Bahen, and she's going to allow to toivel with these strings in her hair because they're not chatzitza. But the problem is that she's going to take them afterwards. He's saying she's right, carry them Mishus Rabin. We hold the lom hanish tarpeh. She's not going to. It doesn't work just to loosen them. In order to make you have to take them off altogether, which would be a problem. Because if you have to take them all together, we're afraid afterwards you might carry them to Shusarabi. Okay. If they're made like a net, shashros, like a chain, there's a gap between them and the hair. She can't make them tight on her hair. And water can get in there and not be a chatzitza. Even they're not woven into her hair, because she doesn't have to take them off when she goes to the mikvah. But that's only in terms of chatzitza. Should not be an interruption between the mortar and her body. But there's some reason to assume she might take off for another purpose. These, such as they're dirty with mud. She's not going to want to go into the mikvah with them. In order not to make the waters muddy. Which will then make her dirty when she comes up. On the contrary, because they're very precious. She's concerned not to put the jewelry in the water. Such as where the gold, etc. She can't go out on them because we're afraid that she's going to carry them afterwards. Maybe she's going to take them out before it goes to mikvah. But as the 4 hours, then she's going to carry them 4 hours in Rishus Harabim. Okay, here in brackets he speaks about Tichei Chalilta, which are these the hair adornments or extensions, and he says that that's what we're talking about here. Okay.